I still stand by the strong character over strong body. And for both of them, don't do it alone. Do life with other people who are of strong character. Get around people who want to grow stronger in different areas. In whatever areas you want to grow stronger in, get around those people, whether it's in a strong body or strong character, strong mind.
What's up, beautiful people? Welcome to the Dear Young Athlete podcast, where we talk to coaches and athletes about their journeys and what advice they would have for their younger selves. I'm your host, Jacob Thompson. I'm a speaker, author, and aspiring Paralympian. I've had the privilege and the opportunity to interview over 25 high-level leaders that share their stories and their insights on leadership and how to be successful. We have another great episode coming right up, so let's get into it. What's up, beautiful people? Today I'm joined by a very, very special guest. I actually got to coach this young man as a high schooler, and he went on to be a collegiate athlete, a multiple all-conference decathlete, which is very impressive. I can't wait to hear about it, as well as winning sportsmanship and leadership and commitment awards in college. Now he is an educator and a head high school track coach. And above all that, he is a man of God, a man of faith, and I can't wait to hear his story and have this conversation. Without further ado, Micah Smith. How you doing, Micah?
Thank you, everybody. Thank you to the in-studio audience. Oh, I'm doing well. I'm doing pretty well. I'm grateful to be here. Grateful to be alive and kicking.
Amen. Well, let's jump in. You know, you've been a college athlete. You're a coach now.
Mm-hmm.
But I always like to bring him back to the beginning. How did you fall in love with sport?
That's such a beautiful question. Well, it was part of my family. My parents were both athletes, and even my dad's dad, so my granddad, he was in the NFL for a little bit of time. And he played for he got drafted by the Redskins, who are now Commanders, but primarily played for the Rams and the Steelers. And that was in the 1950s. His name was Flavius Smith. So it was really cool growing up hearing about those stories. I don't know if you knew that. Did you know that, JT?
I may have heard it. So Micah here has a twin, Joel. I feel like Joel may have mentioned that.
Probably. But our parents and our family friends, like I've talked to them before about how I was as a kid, and they said we just couldn't stop running, me and my brothers. We just kept running up and down the halls, outside, couldn't stop moving. And that has not really changed. It's still like that. Let's see. The first couple sports we ever did, I remember doing, like we got on some camps or we're on some teams for basketball. I always say we, because me and my twin brother did everything together. Like there was only in the last couple of years we have started to separate from what each other does. We did basketball, Little League baseball, and then first year the kids pitch. 1 year of soccer in second grade. I remember like a gymnastics class at the Y, but that was like when we were 3 or 4, and it was just ring around the rosy, pretty much.
Yep. My kids have done that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and just doing anything active outside, or doing too much inside where our mom has to throw us outside.
Yep.
We definitely broke a couple things in the household, a lamp or a vase. Let's see, where else? Thank you for your patience because I have a concussion right now. I think I mentioned that a little bit ago.
Yeah.
Um, but that'll probably tie into my story here soon. Athletic journey. That's where we're at. Joined tackle
So,
football in fourth grade. Do you need to say something?
no, yeah. So, kind of playing all the sports, constantly running, breaking stuff. Getting into high school, then, if I remember right, it was football, basketball, track.
That's right.
And so tell us kind of about high school and what that was like being a three sport athlete, and then thinking about what you want to do in college, and why.
Yeah. Football, basketball, track. I went into high school thinking, oh, I'm gonna focus on basketball most. That I in middle school, I was like, I'm gonna be a professional basketball player and I'm gonna go pro. I'm not even 6 feet tall, so I'm just under that. It's not impossible, but it would make it a lot more difficult. And eventually found out that track and field was like the main sport, but then football was a great thing, like something fun I like to do, and I was pretty good at it. Me and my brother, we could always run people down on the field, or could keep running and have more endurance than other athletes. Always being some of the first done with what was it called? Conditioning. That's the word. Can you remind me of the question again? I'm losing my train of thought.
No, that's good. So you're doing football, track, basketball. Did you do all those for all 4 years? And then what made you realize track is your thing?
Yeah. For basketball, though, that was the first one I stopped doing after 10th grade. And that was primarily due to it was kind of a toxic team environment. The I didn't feel like the athletes were very they weren't team players and didn't know like have good communication skills, and it just tore me up because they were like really getting on each other, ripped on each other when they were having tough days. And I just, not to be like rude to them or anything, but that was just something I didn't want to be a part of. And so I just saw the value of a healthy athletic space. Maybe it would have changed when we got to like varsity or like my junior, senior year, and the head coach of the varsity team might have changed things up. But it just, I lost my motivation for it, lost my passion for it. I still love playing pickup basketball when I can. I actually play, or I'm in a league, not a league, pickup league, I guess, that in the summer plays on weekends, and then in the winter is they play basketball in a church on Monday nights. But yeah, it was just the team environment wasn't something I wanted to be a part of. For football, played all 4 years. It just didn't feel like it was like my 100% sport. I loved it, even though it was quite grueling physically. But I was also like a lighter individual. I was only like 160, 170 pounds my senior year, I think, of high school. And I was a cornerback and a free safety. So I was I could move around, play cover passing, but and I would get my nose in there to break up like a running play, but it wasn't like my specialty. I didn't feel like I was super exceptional despite being a starting defender my junior and senior year. And then for track, it was just like kept running, and even in some varsity meets my sophomore year, which was a lot earlier, well, 1 year earlier than football. And coach kept bringing us me and my brother to varsity meets so that we could see the environment, get around those people. And it was just something that was natural, but I enjoyed because I just like to run. I like difficult exercises, and which is primarily why I focused on the 400s, which is if you talk to anyone about it, it's not the most fun race in track and field because in that last 100, it feels like you're running through water. Your legs are being filled with lead. It's just a difficult race, but I was like, okay, I'm pretty good at this. So that kind of keeps me in it. And I'm being encouraged by other people around me, which is also a positive athletic environment, team environment. And I think that coach was a big inspiration for me, the head track and field coach, to keep going beyond college. But
what was it about your coach that when you say he was a big inspiration to you, what was it about him?
Great question. He could be fun and have some make some jokes here and there, but he was overall like a very intentional, serious individual who didn't have any fluff. He was just very direct individual, and as well as he was a health teacher, Coach Fleming, Mr. Fleming, and as I am also a physical education, health education teacher now. So I think spending time with him has inspired me to be someone who's willing to have tough conversations and be a very direct communicator and not waste time by trying to, well, what I say is some people like to beat around the bush. Sometimes I like to run straight through the bush. It's just a lot more it's just quicker. Straight line is quicker. Still can be a compassionate and kind human, but not letting people just push you over. So standing firm where you are. He was definitely an inspiration in those ways. And he said, if people want to skip practice, they're not for this team. If people are trying to make shortcuts, they're not going to be great athletes. And I remember thinking that about some of the older, like the hotshot seniors when I was a freshman or a sophomore, and they were like just some of the best people. I just looked up to them, but I remember them cutting corners about some things, shortening even the flush out workouts where you, it's like the day after a meet and it's like a chill run, but they just kept shortening things, and I didn't want to do that. And after listening to that coach about like being intentional and not taking any shortcuts, I eventually did. Well, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I did surpass those guys who were the seniors when I was a freshman and a sophomore. And none of them ran in the 400 in state independently, but I ended up doing that, and I got 6th in state my senior year. And then first in the 4x4 with my twin brother and some amazing guys, Josh Sampson and Jared Herbert. I took off a little bit on that for the independent 400, the open 400, because I was saving it for the 4x400. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to be a team player, even though I really, wanted to run well for that open 400. I think being on a team with a coach or coaching staff that focused on being a team player or being team players, like really focused on winning true team state, motivated for that, it set up my mindset to focus on the 4x400 meter relay rather than the open 4. Yeah.
That's crazy. Kind of like, coaches always want to get players to think about the team over themselves. and sometimes it feels impossible. But for you, like, he really built that culture to even make you want to care more about winning as a team than as an individual, which is awesome. When it came to college, did you know where you want to go? Did you get recruited? Did you get recruited for football? Like, how do you end up making that choice? Hey, real quick, if you're enjoying the episode, I want to ask you to go on whatever platform you're on and follow and subscribe. Give us a rating and review us and help this podcast reach more people. You can head to the website 1020words.com/DYA. That's TEN20words.com/DYA to learn more about us, check out our merchandise, or figure out how you can have me come speak to your team or program, or potentially be a guest on the podcast. I look forward to connecting with you. Let's get back into the episode.
I didn't get recruited or asked to go anywhere. There was Bethel track and field. That's where I ended up going. The head coach there, Andrew Rock, he hand wrote some letters. He hand writes letters to athletes, and I thought that was very intentional. And I didn't think I could go. Maybe I could have gone D1 or something. But I wasn't like a standout athlete at state or anything. Like maybe the top one or two winners could go D1, or I could probably go small D1. But I wanted to focus more on spiritual development as somebody of faith, and I didn't want to go too far from home. It was like my high school is down the road from Bethel, and it was I was already comfortable with the environment. So part of it, my twin brother decided to go there. I wanted to go there because the track team was better than some surrounding schools, even if it was D3. And it was just the environment about the team, community, the motivation for the school and the team. Those are some things that affected the decision.
Yeah, so super cool. A coach writing you a handwritten letter. I want you to tell us about your experience in college. Specifically, let's start with why you became a decathlete. I mean, that's kind of wild, right? Like, not everyone says I want to do 10 events, right? So how'd that happen?
I'm first going to list off what all the events are for the decathlon. So it's a back-to-back day, 2-day competition, 5 events on one day, 5 events on another day for the men. And then the women do 7 events, the heptathlon outdoors. The day 1 is 100 dash, long jump, shot put, high jump, and then finish day 1 with the 400. Day 2 is the 110 high hurdles, discus, pole vault, javelin, and the 1500. So just a little bit under a mile, or the metric mile, so to speak. So that's all the decathlon events. As for why I did it, I didn't start the decathlon or training as a multi until my sophomore year. Like my freshman year, I just did the 400. And I realized, you know what, I want to change it up. Plus my twin brother, he was doing he had already been to nationals, or was an alternate for nationals for the team. And that's another big part of my story, my athletic story. Identity and comparison. So my twin brother, yeah, he was doing great in the 400s and 400 hurdles. And I was just like, I want to do something different, something that is not the 400s, because he's already doing so great at that. Not that I need to do something different because he's doing great, but I just want to. I was just finding myself. I was finding myself. And in high school, sometimes I had dabbled in every event in practice. So I did long jump, triple jump, high jump. I threw shot put at practice for fun. I don't think I did discus at practice. Then for pole vault, mom wouldn't let me do pole vault. And she kind of kicks herself about that. She doesn't kick me. That would be bad. She doesn't. She's kicking herself a little bit because I ended up doing the decathlon with pole vault, and the first 2 years of coaching, I was an assistant coach and focused on pole vault. So those are a bunch of events, or even in practice, I went over a couple of short hurdles, and like the hurdle coach for my high school, he saw it out of the corner of his eye, and he thought I was my brother who had focused on hurdles. And he was like, the form looked great. I didn't know it was you, Micah. So out of all, just like, I like to try things out. I was like, you know what, coach, I want to be a multi. And then he actually said, you know what, I was actually thinking about that for you too, which is awesome. And so we ended up training for that starting my sophomore year. And it's a lot of fun to try a lot of different things. And you have to learn to have a short attention span. Not like inability to focus, but when you're done with something, you got to move on to the next thing, and don't sulk too much if you don't do well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What I think is funny about track and why some people don't like it or want to do it is like, you have this 5-hour meet and you run for 12 seconds. Mm-hmm. And it feels like you get to have the most fun. Like, you're doing all the events, which is awesome. A question I have for you, I think a lot of kids in high school, they think they want to be a collegiate athlete, but they have no idea what that actually is like. You having gotten all conference and having a lot of success, I want you to give us a window into like your routine and a typical day, and kind of how you had that success and maintain, schoolwork, and what that looked like.
Yeah, it was a lot. Like, it did not come easily. So a typical school day, I would probably get up. If I had a morning class, so first classes would be at 8:30, I think, maybe 9. I can't remember exactly, but it was in the morning. So I would wake up probably 7 or 7:30 and go get breakfast in the dining center, go to class, probably have a little bit of a break or class back to back, just 3 or 4 classes each day. Because you have to keep a certain number of credits while you're competing. And then practice was at 4 p.m. typically. It depended on what facility we were using. And then there would also be a team lift. So that would probably be about 2 hours each night if I wasn't doing decathlon stuff. If it's decathlon, maybe 2.5 hours. But they're not trying to. Sorry, there's a bug on the wall. I'm going to get that real quick. Okay, got it. Yeah, it's about 2-hour practice, get dinner. And then if I had a campus job, so I would do that for 2 hours after practice. It wasn't every day. It was a couple nights a week. And then once every month over the weekend. But I had to take shifts that were after practice. So I was I think it was the 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. shift, or if it was a Sunday night, I actually did a 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. shift. So after that, and then get back to your room and go to sleep. But sometimes it's a lively social life, and you don't always. There's a lot of side quests, so it was hard to. I definitely bombed some tests because I had a hard time juggling everything. I got some accommodations because of ADHD and mental health struggles that I started or I got with high school and was able to bring those to college. And I had to go to tutors, and there was like a study office that would kind of mentor you and coach you with how to use a virtual calendar to help keep track of things. And it took years before I could completely master it. So those are like all the things entailing typically for college.
Yeah. I mean, being a college athlete, it's hard as it is. And then, like you talked about, ADHD, mental health, like that on top of it. So I think if somebody is listening thinking, oh, I want to be a college athlete, it's like, okay, well, college for you is not just going to be partying and playing video games and, doing all the fun stuff. Like, you have class, you have to maintain a certain GPA,
Yes,
you've got workouts, you've got practice. Depending on your sport, then you might have film or you might have meeting. You have a job, and then class in college is just like you have an hour of class maybe, but then you have to learn everything through your assignment. So
yeah,
I think it's good for people to hear what that actually would be like. And then you had a job on top of it. And to think like, okay, well, if I think I'm going to be a college athlete, what is my lifestyle like right now? Like, am I putting in work as an athlete, as a student, prioritizing? Like, it's not easy. But talk to us a little bit about the kind of ADHD, mental health, and I know you mentioned concussions too.
Yeah. I'll start with my first couple concussions. I got 2 concussions in 4th grade. One was spring basketball, and then when I was cleared to go back to recess, I wasn't allowed to go to recess after having concussion. But the same day I got back to recess, I got a concussion because I was playing two-hand touch football, which was, it just makes it harder to learn. The following year, winter rolls around, and then I started having like depressive symptoms. Ended up having getting seasonal depression. Some of it ran in my family, but it like really triggered after getting a concussion or 2 concussions. So that was when I was diagnosed with a mood disorder of depression, maybe even dysthymia, which is kind of just consistent low mood. And after getting Lyme's disease, like a tick bite in 7th grade, the summer between 6th and 7th grade, which Lyme's disease can definitely mess with the antibiotics mess with your gut to get healing, but then your gut is connected to your brain as the second brain, and they closely communicate. So if your gut is healthy and your brain is healthy, but antibiotics, it kills all the bad and the good bacteria that's in your stomach or in your intestines. So it kind of threw me off mentally. And Lyme disease is also connected to just long-term fogginess, distractibility, attention problems. So, but within the next year, I was diagnosed with ADHD. Probably could have been diagnosed earlier than that. I don't know. It so that's the background of ADHD and depression, and then there's anxiety in there with just like life and being a student, having a social life, and trying to balance all these things. What did you want from this again?
Just to kind of hear about your journey with
Oh
those
yeah,
things like mental health, concussions, ADHD, like how have you been able to um kind of what how has that really impacted you and how have you been able to still function well?
yeah. Uh, well, then ninth grade year, I got another concussion.
I remember that one. I was
Yeah, you were
your
my coach at the time.
football coach.
Yep. And I was out for a week or two, not too long. But and anxiety started to really pick up in high school. I had already been struggling some with anxiety and depression because of the previous concussions. But yeah, after that, and where naturally your responsibilities start to pick up. Um, that affected me through high school, and I could not do it alone. I had to communicate. Like sometimes my parents would realize that, oh, my eyes are red because I was just crying in my room, or I have like tear creases over my eyes, or something like that. So they would. I was great. I didn't have the strength to always talk about it, but I was grateful to have people around me who were observant and supportive. And I had to go to counseling since I've been in counseling since fifth grade. Which is um, a lot of people don't get counseling. I think everyone probably will need it at some point in their life. And how to balance it all, I have to learn or get connected with my school because they can provide accommodations through 504s or IEPs. I didn't completely understand all of it in high school, how all of it worked out. I was like, one day I was just so overwhelmed. I was like, hey, can I have an extension? But it was the day of the project was supposed to be due. And it was actually my track and field coach in the health class. And he was like, you can't communicate that before or the day of. You need to communicate that a lot earlier. I was like, oh, okay. We'll get that. So that kind of like him being truthful sparked it that I need to, even though might have a harder time compared to other people with self advocacy or executive functioning, I need to have just a little bit. I just need to keep growing it a little bit, so that I can help myself and help with my success. Because they're already trying to get systems in place for me to do better. But there was responsibility for me to make sure I was using those strategies in healthy ways. And then, oh, sorry, were you going to say something?
No, well, I think what is interesting to me is like, I knew you some in high school, and I think from the outside, people would look and say, here's this cool, athletic, good looking guy, and sort of
Thank you.
think like, oh, like he's got everything kind of that people aspire towards in high school. But beneath that, like people don't see that you're also maybe struggling with some of the same things they might be struggling with. And it's
Yeah.
like being athletic or being good looking or popular or whatever, none of that like trumps you struggling mentally,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is interesting. Was there more you're gonna say about that?
Yeah, I'm actually going to close my eyes because looking at a screen hurts my head because I have a concussion right now. So I'm just going to close my eyes a little bit and we can still have a conversation. Um, I got a concussion recently as well.
You can
Uh,
look away to it or
yeah,
whatever's easier.
just using my eyes in general can sometimes
Yeah.
be a pain for my head. Um, this recent concussion that I'm currently struggling with, I got it almost 5 months ago, and it was pretty darn bad. I was playing. I'm out of college, so I was playing in a flag football league, and I went up for a pass. Like I was really hauling down the field, and when I was hauling down and I went up to catch a pass, I came down and fell backwards and hit my head, the back of my head on the ground. Um, I I was told I caught it, which is great. Um, that's all that matters, really. just just kidding. Uh, I was unconscious for about half an hour. Like I couldn't like keep myself awake, and like I came to like for a second, but everything was blurry and muffled. Came to a second time when I was being put on a stretcher, like an ambulance came to pick me up, and I could finally like say a couple words when they were transitioning me into the ambulance. And they were like, "We're about to lift you up into the ambulance." Me probably in shock and being my humorous self, I was like, "You have my permission." And and obviously they didn't need my permission because I was mostly unconscious anyways. But I was like awake for another minute, a couple minutes later, but still couldn't hold it. Kind of talking to them about what in my head hurts, but then went back to sleep or being unconscious, and I could finally stay awake when the ambulance was transitioning me into the hospital. So I was unconscious for a half hour, and it's been a long recovery. Um, I took a week and a half off of work, but then I went back to teaching. My head was probably around 40 to 50%. There's no like real measurements for concussions and no timeline they can really give you. It's just like whenever you heal. Even now, right now, I've been kind of stagnant at like 90 to 95% healed. Like I'm able to do some strength training, like a little bit with my athletes. But if I even earlier this last week, I'd try to do some like jumping samples for them of what we're doing for a warm up or a plyo drill. And that threw me off. I should not have been jumping, and I feel a little slower after that. So I kind of went back a little bit, but concussions are not something to play around. People need to take care of their heads. Even after or this concussion, I've had one anxiety or one panic attack and a couple of close calls, but I was able to do some deep breathing and have some strategies to prevent it. Maybe it's due to me not being able to work out as much because my body naturally has a lot of energy with ADHD, and I am used to being physically active at work as a physical education teacher, being active as a coach, and then after coaching, I would sometimes go lift a couple days a week. So it's been a big shift. Did I answer the question about
Yeah.
concussion?
Yeah. So just transitioning it a bit, you what I'm hearing is um you had these kind of through your adolescence some struggles with
Mm-hmm.
mental health, with concussions, ADHD,
Sorry, my dog's barking.
identity. Oh, it's good.
Okay.
Identity, comparison.
Mm-hmm.
You had a coach in high school who was impactful for you, athletically and personally. You had a really intentional college coach.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that all makes sense that you would end up coaching and teaching. But do you have anything to say about what made you want to get into that? Hey man, cool shirt. Oh, thank you, man. What is that logo? I've never seen it before. Yeah, it's actually based off 1 Timothy 4:8, which says physical training is good, but training in godliness is better, having value in this life and the next. The 8 is like an infinity because when you have a relationship with God, it lasts forever. Oh, you believe in Jesus or what? Yeah, bro, I play the game all for God's glory. You know, He changed my life and I want to do what I can to glorify Him. Is it a brand or whose logo is that? Yeah, it's actually the theme verse for a cool podcast I listen to called Dear Young Athlete. It's a sports leadership podcast. You should check it out. So where can I get one? Yeah, you just go to their website, 1020words.com/DYA. That's TEN20words.com/DYA. If you use the code DYA20 with all caps, you can get 20% off your first order. They have t-shirts, shorts, hoodies, crew necks, you name it, anything you want. Yeah, man, I mean, I guess I would like to learn more. Oh yeah, man, we got Bible study later with some of the guys. If you want to come check it out. All right, bro. See you later. All right, bro. Peace.
Yeah. In the middle of high school, I was like, I'm going to be a counselor, a psychologist. Sorry, my dog's barking. I don't know what she's barking at. She must.
That's all right.
See something outside. 1 second. Sadie. Okay, now she's coming down. Hopefully she'll chill out a little bit. Chill out, girl. Okay. Okay. How I started getting into this profession of physical and health education. I had, like I was saying, in high school, I thought I was going to be a counselor, psychologist, therapist, because I really like deep conversations. And to some people, I was kind of like the therapist friend. Maybe it was because I had been to therapy so much. And after my time with my coach and going into college, I was like, I have no idea what I want to do. I have no idea. So I went in just like, I didn't have to pick anything, but I just picked health and physical education. I was like, that sounds pretty cool. But after trying to seek wisdom, so whoever asks God for wisdom, God is very generous and gracious to give wisdom. I was able to seek advice from other people. Proverbs talks about having counselors or wise people around you. I talked to people I was close to and thought about, or I reflected on what I enjoyed, and it was physical activity. I actually enjoy like working with kids and teaching, because I had done it like a couple Bible studies where I was like one of student leaders. And so that all that together, I was like, why not health and physical education? And it was just like God slowly snuck all of these things to line them up into like my skills and my habits. And I personally needed health, like mental health, physical health. And I was thinking, why not use my story of how I've had to struggle, or how I've struggled in academics. I haven't talked about that. Well, I guess I touched a little bit on it. Academics, struggles with mental health, struggles with comparison in athletics. All that I can cover while teaching and coaching. So I think God
Yeah.
really lined up this profession for me and really worked with me on that.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about God working in your life, seeking wisdom, leading Bible studies. Tell us kind of what have been the major moments in your spiritual journey? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what has that been like?
Yeah. Uh, my parents had me go to youth group a lot. So being active in the church, going a couple days a week. So not just on Sundays, but on Wednesday nights as well. But the real shift didn't change until ninth grade, 10th grade year, where uh, my older brother invited me and my twin brother to be more involved in the youth group and to a student led Bible study that happened on Friday nights. And seeing youth around my age that was actually intentionally seeking after God and like seeking after Jesus and trying to be like Jesus isn't just a Sunday thing. It's like, it's an all week thing. It's an all life thing. Not that it's like something that you need to purposefully focus on the whole day, because God wants us to be present. He wants us to be present with him too. But God wants us to be present, and he'll help weave things in to teach us. But yeah, the amazing thing was older brother inviting me to be more involved. The invitation was very important. And that's when I started to see faith is more tangible, more real. And those were some of the events in my life, and getting around people who were more intentional about wanting to be like Jesus was something that really helped shape and form me and motivate me so that I could grow closer to God.
Yeah, what would you tell, your student, thinking about your students, your athlete, you're obviously not allowed to talk too much about your faith at school, but what would you want them to know about
Yeah.
Jesus?
The first thing I would want them to know is that identity and the way you talk to yourself is a big thing. Your brain is going to believe whatever you verbalize. So if you say, "Oh, I'm so stupid," your brain is going to repeat that. So if you ever say something like that, or if you notice a friend saying that, you need to repeat something positive about yourself 3 times to balance it out. So me just saying something like that, now I'm going to say, "I'm smart. I'm smart. I'm smart." Um, I've had to do that as a practice to help me with my self esteem and how I view who I am as a person. And because God is very faithful and very positive and very optimistic towards us, way more than we ever could be towards ourselves. Um, and God wants us to take that and encompass that as well, as that our identity in God, even though I make mistakes, that my mistakes are not who I am. I am a child of God. I am created perfect. I am a new creation. I'm Jesus's brother, because he's the big bro. He's the big bro. I'm a child of the King, child of the Father. So identity, and which would have helped with comparison a lot earlier in my athletic experience if I focused more on that. So that identity is the first thing. The next thing, what my coaching philosophy, or my coaching kind of phrase is: strong body over. Oh, whoa! Erase that. Back up. Strong character over strong body. That is something that I've developed over the past couple months, or a year actually, is I want my athletes to know that a strong character is way more important than a strong body. It's good to have a strong body, especially for competition, and you can help other people if you're stronger. But a strong character is going to set you up so much for the long run. And for, well, to be honest, eternity, if we're going to, well, mentioning more spiritual stuff, like your shirt says 4:8, because I was going to talk about 1 Timothy 4:8, which is, for while bodily training is of some value, godliness is of value in every way, as it holds promise for the present and also the life to come. So that scriptures talk about, like, my body is not, well, it's not the only thing I should focus on, even though we should take care of our bodies because they are temples, the temple of the Holy Spirit that's living inside of us, and we should take care of these bodies. But there's other scriptures that talk about we are going to get new heavenly bodies when we get into heaven. And I want to try to let's say, what is it called when I want to try to pre-order pre-order a really strong heavenly body, because the body that you get in heaven is going to somewhat depend on your actions here. Even though God is so graceful that we get to go to eternity, how you spend eternity and the quality of the heaven side of eternity is determined by how intentional we are going to be in this lifetime. Maybe maybe I could be wrong, but that's from what I've known in my Bible studies so far, and through different sources. But that is, those are things that I want my athletes to know, is that strong character is going to be so much better for the long run, no pun intended, than a strong body.
Yeah. Yeah, because, I mean, I always encourage people, like, be great at your sport, be your very best in school. You want to start a business, be great. You want to work for a company, be great. But even more important than all that is who you are beneath the surface. And that's your character, that's your faith, that's how you treat people, how you treat yourself, the choices you make when no one's watching, or it's like that matters way more, because every year there are great athletes. Every year there are new world champions, new record holders, new All-Americans. Every year there's people being great, but your character is the thing that will last beyond your accolade. No matter how big or small your accolades may be. Which is why, in my experience, like, I know people that didn't start a game in high school football, and now they're a collegiate head coach for a football team. Yeah. And that's their full-time job, because your character matters way beyond how good of a player you can be. I have kind of two more things for you. And one is, I would say, like, growing up, I thought life was all about sports, but I know now sports are all about life. And everything we've learned in sports is really a microcosm of real life. And so if there's kind of one lesson from sports that you've seen impact your life, what would that be?
I think I touched on it already of like the strong body is not as important as a strong mind, or not as important as a strong, yes. Well, I guess mind and spiritual
Character.
strength,
Yeah.
strong character. That's right. Um, where are my notes? Can you repeat the question? My train of thought just
What
left me.
is maybe if you could pick a lesson from sports that you've seen
Yeah.
true in your life, what would be the top one?
Hmm. I I still stand by the strong character over strong body. Um, and for both of them, don't do it alone. Do
Hmm.
life with other people who are of strong character. Um, get around people who want to grow stronger in different areas. In whatever areas you want to grow stronger in, get around those people, whether it's in a strong body or strong character, strong mind. Um, take care of your character, but if you also take care of your body, that'll take care of your mind as well. Um, but don't overemphasize the body over the mind, where you don't take care of your mental health. But your mental health can be impacted and benefit from some exercise. So
Yeah, for sure.
character
Like,
over the body still.
yep, yep. Yeah, it's funny because it's really not one or the other. And if you try and do one without the other,
Mm-hmm.
it's not gonna work. If you think, oh, I'm just gonna develop my character and not care about my body,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's what God wants. I think we're meant to be good stewards of our
Mm-hmm.
body, like and be as healthy as we can be. But at the same time though, if you're like, oh, I'm just gonna care about my body and not my character, um
Mm-hmm.
you might be strong and fit and fast, but